Hello everyone. Hi how's your doing? How's your going on? Hope you yourself doing well and hope you yourself keeping yourself well. So we have been joined by CM Ratul Gupta all the way from Dubai. So the purpose of this meeting is to gather information about GST as well as the VAT. What is the comparison of the GST and what is there in VAT? So हम लोग ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन देंगे पहले जीएसटी के बारे में, देन फिर बात करेंगे फिर वैट के बारे में, क्या क्या जीएसटी के रेट्स एप्लीकेबल है, क्या वैट के रेट्स एप्लीकेबल है, कौन कौन से प्रोसीजरल एस्पेक्ट्स हैं जिसमें आपका कौन कौन सी रिटर्न्स फाइल करनी है, एंड उसके बाद कौन कौन से आपके कंप्लायंस होते हैं वैट के अंदर और जीएसटी के अंदर, रिफंड्स हो गए, इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट्स हो गए. दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द समरी which we will start in the video. Hi, good afternoon, brother. How are you doing?
Hi, Pratik. Good afternoon, and hope all is well over there in India, and you're doing fine and keeping yourself safe.
We are doing ourselves safe, and we hope and whole city is doing well in the coming days. Uh, we would like to start with the with first with the GST aspect. So, what is GST? So, GST is the component which is coming since last 20 years, which is of coming in last 20 years, and it was come in July 2017. First of July 2017 is the date when GST has been implemented in India. So GST, what is GST? GST is the mixture of every tax. So as far as the India is concerned, India is having a different taxes in terms of indirect tax and direct tax. So in indirect tax, we have multiple taxes, that is excise duty, service tax, VAT, CST, sale tax, custom duty, entry tax, entertainment tax. So since these all taxes have different returns, these all taxes have different cumbersome process. So in order to remove all the issues, the ambiguities and the legal issues, so the government has come up with a single tax which is known as the GST, goods and services tax. इन सारे टैक्सेस को मर्ज करके एक टैक्स बनाया गया है जिसका नाम दिया गया है जीएसटी. और जीएसटी कब आया था हमारे यहाँ इंडिया में? 2017 में, जुलाई, 1 जुलाई 2017 में. सो जीएसटी के कंपोनेंट के अंदर जैसे कि बताया गया कि जीएसटी में मल्टीपल टैक्सेस को सब्स्यूम करा गया है एक टैक्स के अंदर. इसके अंदर जो सब्स्यूम नहीं करा गया है, वो सब्स्यूम क्या नहीं करा गया है? सबसे पहले था बेसिक कस्टम ड्यूटी. कस्टम ड्यूटी के 3 कंपोनेंट्स होते हैं. एक आपका हो गया बेसिक कस्टम ड्यूटी, नेक्स्ट आपका होता है आपका जो एडिशनल कस्टम ड्यूटी होता है आपका, और सेस होता है. तो इसमें 2 कंपोनेंट को सब्स्यूम करा गया है, एडिशनल कस्टम ड्यूटी एज वेल एज द सेस. और जो बेसिक कस्टम ड्यूटी है उसको जीएसटी के एम्बिट से बाहर रखा गया है. नेक्स्ट आपका था एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटीज के ऊपर भी आपका जीएसटी एप्लीकेबल नहीं है. नेक्स्ट आपका था क्लीन एनर्जी सेस, उसके ऊपर भी इन्होंने जीएसटी को उसके सब्स्यूम नहीं करा है, अलग से है. अब जीएसटी जो है किसके ऊपर लगता है, किसके ऊपर नहीं लगता है? तो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट था जीएसटी एप्लीकेबल हर कंपोनेंट के ऊपर है एक्सेप्ट द फॉलोइंग, विच इज लिकर, या फिर आपका जो स्टेट के आपके डीजल एंड पेट्रोल्स होते हैं, जो डीजल एंड पेट्रोल जो कमोडिटीज है वो जीएसटी के एम्बिट के अंदर नहीं आता है. So these are the components, major components which are not there in GST. So, Mridul, can you just tell us about what is the area of VAT in UAE? What all components are including in VAT, and how is it started in UAE? What is the purpose of implementing VAT?
Yes. So before we proceed with the background of VAT in UAE, I would like to briefly discuss about at a GCC level how the seats for implementation of VAT were sold. So basically, as we all know, GCC in particular thrives on oil revenue. The government of late has been deliberating in terms of how do we find out an alternative source of income to support the government in its in the time to come. So accordingly, at a GCC level, the GCC countries, namely Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Oman, had jointly taken this decision and signed a GCC common framework which paved the way for introduction of VAT amongst in these GCC countries. Accordingly, to begin with, UAE and KSA were the first two countries to be implementing VAT in their respective countries on 1st of January 2018, just 6 months after India introduced GST in India. Okay. So VAT in GCC or VAT in UAE is as good as a GST in India. So it is called as VAT here. It is applicable on supply of goods and services like how we have GST in India. The two, like in India, we don't have many tax rates here. We have tax rates in form of 5%, which is on standard supplies, and zero rated 0% for exports and other specific supplies. There is also an exempt category on which VAT is not applicable.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. So
There
yeah.
is also a mechanism. There is also a mechanism in terms of in order to represent the case uh, in front of the authority. There is a mechanism of tax agencyship, wherein uh, a person who can speak, read, and write Arabic, and who needs to undertake and pass on specific exams as conducted by the Federal Tax Authority of UAE. Upon doing so, they get a formal certification from the FTA, which recognize them as tax agents who can formally represent their clients in UAE.
Okay.
So this was broadly about the structural aspect about how the UAE has implemented VAT in their country. Also that so it's been like around 2.5 years of implementation of VAT here. The first year, as claimed by the authorities here, were a huge success in terms of stating that the revenues generated from VAT here had surpassed almost like more than 2.5 years of estimation which they had done prior to implementing VAT here. So majorly, the introduction here has seen a phenomenal success. Plus, the kind of automation which the authorities have done in order to administer the VAT here has been a phenomenal success. Almost everything has been automated. The physical interference of authorities with the registrants had been kept at minimal. So right from the
Hmm.
filing of return, the refund process, even the audit, to a lot of extent has been done through the system-based administration, the technology-driven administration which the UE is undertaking. So there are a lot of things which, as an input, India can also take from the UAE-based administration of taxes. Over to you, Pratik.
Great, great. So I think the overview is of VAT is very looking a simpler side of that. So I think so. As far as the GST is concerned, so we have different rates altogether. We have 5% rate, we have 12% rate, we have 18% rate, and 28% rate. We have a slab rates. So majorly the services are covered in the 18% rate, and sin goods are covered in the 28% rate, and the agriculture produce major agriculture produce are covered in that 5% rate, and the remaining are there in the 12% rate. So the government is doing something on in respect of 12% rate. I think they are going to either merge it on to 18%, or it can be merged it on 5%. So it totally depends on the NRR. I think the government will come up with a will minimum rates that can be possible. So as far as the since Bridul has told us about the VAT overview, the rates as well as the compliance point of view, what all compliances are there. So I would like to give you the overview of where is GST applicable. So GST, as far as the Section 7 is concerned of the GST, CGST Act, so GST is applicable on the supply of goods and services. So supply word is a very important word in the GST area, where you have to see whether the any transaction taken place is coming under the category of supply or not. So supply is the important word. We have to see the definition of supply, what all things are included in the supply. So supply can be anything except whatever it is mentioned in the Schedule 3. Schedule 3 states about what all transactions are not supposed to be included in the supply definition. So I will give you the certain examples. That is the employee-employee relations, whatever the transactions held in the employee-employer relation, that is also excluded from the GST aspect. And apart from this, there are some transactions wherein free samples, free of goods sale. So also the GST is not applicable on that part. So there are multiple transactions wherein GST is not applicable. uh, so Section 7 is totally tells about the overview what all transactions are including and what all transactions are not including. So Mridul, can you just tell us about what is the scope of VAT in UAE? So what all things are covered in VAT and what all are not included in the VAT? Can you just tell us?
Yes. So like in India, the VAT is applicable on supply of goods as well as supply of services. Uh, so in terms of supply of goods and services, obviously it has to be a taxable supply. Uh, although we don't have a list-wise tax rates because as we have, there are only two VAT rates here, standard supply and zero rated supplies. So we don't have any commodity-wise uh, VAT rates or list of service-wise VAT rates here. So almost everything which forms to be a domestic supply of goods or services, which can be said to be a standard rated supply, has the 5 rating VAT attached to it. So on that way, it is a lot more straightforward when we compare to GST in India, as we don't have to classify the goods or services on the basis of the service code or the HSN code, like how we do it in India in order to classify it in the appropriate GST rates over there. So that's how it is here.
Okay, great. So I would like to tell our viewers about the GST in India. So, GST is applicable on the. It totally depends upon the taxable supplies. So we have to see first whether it's a goods or services, and secondly we need to check whether it is a taxable person or not, and third one is the deemed supply of goods and services, and it should be in the furtherance of course of business. So there is a clear point over here is that it should be in the furtherance of course of business. As far as the rules are concerned, so in a normal scenarios, in a general terms, so whatever the supplies made interstate, so they are liable to be taxed at a tax at a rate of whatever the rate is applicable, and it will be termed as an integrated goods and services tax. So what IGST comes up when we are talking about an interstate supply, one state to another state. And next is the intra-state supply. Any supply within the state comes up with the term CGST and the SGST, Central Goods and Services Tax and State Goods and Services Tax. So these three components are there in the taxes. One is the IGST, one is the CGST, and SGST. So when we're talking about the interstate supply, we will charge only one tax. That is whatever the rate is. If we are charging 5%, then we have to charge IGST 5%. If we are charging 12, 18, 28, then we have to charge IGST 18, 28, and 12. So as far as the intra-state transactions are concerned, we have to bifurcate both into half values. So let's suppose we have rate of 5% intra-state, then we have to divide 50% into CGST and 50% into SGST, 2.5% into CGST and 2.5% into SGST. As similar is the case of 12%, 6% is CGST and 6% is SGST. So we have to uh, categorize into 50-50% scenario. And whatever the since Mridul has also told us about export zero rated sales. So similar cases there in India. So whatever the sales outside India will be termed as the export sales, and taxes are not applicable. That is the zero rated sales, and you have two options over there. One is the LUT and another one is the non-LUT. So these two options are there. So as far as the chargeability is concerned, chargeability we have talked about when is it is applicable. Next, we are coming up videos on the similar topics, wherein we will cover the specific areas such as the input tax credit in brief in detail, as well as the export transactions, as well as the refund aspect, how to claim the refunds, and others also. So we will take up. So this video is all about a brief introduction of GST and the VAT. We will cover other aspects also in the times to come. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Mridul, for joining us from different country altogether. We will be uh, hoping to continue in the same proposition as of now, and hopefully uh, we will uh, we will continue the same in the future. Thank you guys for joining us, and please do subscribe our YouTube channel HPKV in the name, so you can get the link and you can able to subscribe our YouTube channel. So this channel is all about the professional updates in terms of taxes as well as the accounting aspect. So please do subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you, Mritul. Any last word from your side, uh, which we can collaborate,
Yes,
which we
thank
can
you. Thank you so much, Pratik and team. Yes, any feedback, please provide your comments, and we would be very happy, to look forward to your
Hmm.
suggestions and feedback, and we would work on those areas as well. Hope you have
Definitely,
liked our video, the content, the information, and feel free to reach us out. Thank you.
definitely. We will mention our email IDs on the context of the video. You can able to access that, and you can send us an email on that. So thank you, and please do give the feedback of our videos whenever possible. Thank you so much. Thank you.